MoneyGram wird die Welt ein bisschen kleiner. Grenzen werden zu Brücken, Ozeane werden zu Chancen. Und jeder Tag ist ein guter Tag, um in Verbindung zu bleiben. Egal, ob Sie Geld senden oder empfangen, unsere niedrigen Gebühren, 10-Minuten-Transaktionen und Tausende von Standorten weltweit machen die Verbindung einfach. Und einfach ist gut. MoneyGram, internationaler Geldtransfer. Sie haben es in der Hand.
Hello viewers, I am Emmanuel Mabamdele from African Mirror TV. Today I have in the studio with me a gentleman, Mr. Celeste Ugochukwu. Mr. Ugochukwu is the president of the Nigerian Business Forum Swiss chapter here in Switzerland. He is the former president of Nigerian Union of Switzerland, Nigerian Diaspora Organization, popularly known as NIDO, and also the brainbox and the coordinator of the newly founded organization called African Diaspora Council of Swiss. Mr. Celeste Ugochukwu, you are welcome to African Mirror TV.
Thank you.
Tonight, we're going to be talking about the situation in Cote d'Ivoire. I saw that you wrote an open letter to the president of the ECOWAS, who happens also to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm talking about President Jonathan. Can you tell us what actually prompted you to write such an open letter to Mr. President?
Well, as you rightly said, I decided to put up that letter to the president of ECOWAS. You will recollect that on the 28th of November last year, 2010, there were elections, general elections, the runoff in Cote d'Ivoire, and that elections has ended in deadlock because we have a situation whereby two candidates are claiming winners. On the one hand, the Electoral Commission claimed that Mr. Ouattara won the election, and on the other side, the Constitutional Council of Cote d'Ivoire claims that after their account, they found that actually President Gbagbo won the election.
Do you think they, in the country constitution, is this well done from your own experience, or do you think that something is wrong from the Electoral Commission releasing one election and the Constitutional Council proclaiming what the Electoral Commission released to be wrong?
Well, the information we have is this, which is a little bit surprising. We have information that according to the electoral law in Cote d'Ivoire, the Electoral Commission is supposed to announce the results after 3 days, which they did not do, maybe for one reason or the other. And then later on, this election commission president went now to the campaign office of a candidate, Mrs. Ouattara, where they sat together and look at the results and eventually announced Ouattara as winner. So, of course, this is a little bit surprising for Gbagbo, who felt he was shortened by going to announce a result in opponent's own office. And of course that led to some investigations, and they found out that this election, the result that we are given, were a little bit manufactured. That does not reflect the reality of the election that took place. And
but now, if you look at the intervention of the Western world, I mean the view of many nations, are you really satisfied with the response of the outside world, the sub-region of Africa, towards the present situation in Cote d'Ivoire?
Well, first of all, I would like to point out that the situation in Cote d'Ivoire has two dimensions. There is, on one side, we have the situation about the sovereignty of a nation, of an African independent nation. On the other side, we now have the situation of democracy, election. And it's unfortunate, France, the West led by France, had directed the attention of many, even African leaders, to the second part, which is the democracy area, and forget the dimension of the sovereignty. Because personally, I believe that you cannot have a democracy in a country that is not sovereign. It's first of all, you respect the sovereignty of a nation, and then when a nation is sovereign, that's when it will organize independent elections, and then you have candidates that will come out from elections that is seen to be
Are you now saying there is a kind of a special interest of a French connection or a French interest in the Cote d'Ivoire, which happens to be the former colonial master of Cote d'Ivoire?
Well, there's no doubt that right from the beginning, France had already indicated a special interest in Cote d'Ivoire in this election, in Ouattara in particular. Even before the elections took place, it is an open secret that France had already anointed Ouattara to take over from Gbagbo. Gbagbo had been seen by France as a stubborn president that do not respect its opinion. Recently, they found oil near Abidjan, which you know about, and France is interested to bring Total there to be able to take the benefits from this oil. But Gbagbo made it clear that these things are not going to be done like that anymore, that Cote d'Ivoire is an independent nation, and this should go by public offer, and whoever that gives the best offer takes it. Of course, this is not good for France to hear, and now they are looking for every possible way to put him out of as the captain of the ship, so that Ouattara will enter, married to a French woman, of course will play the French card, and they will get whatever they want for Cote d'Ivoire. And this is why the situation is so complicated, because the military and many intellectuals in Cote d'Ivoire saw what is coming up, and now the deadlock has come, and it is unfortunate because it is mostly because of the French interest that we have come to the situation we find ourselves today in Cote d'Ivoire.
Gbagbo has already took some steps by saying that the election could be recounted, and Ouattara actually said this is out of question. What do you really think about this?
This is for me very surprising, because even the West that have sided, or the international community that have sided Ouattara right from the beginning, never even cared to know a little bit more what actually happened in Cote d'Ivoire. In many countries, when there are two candidates claiming victories, the next option is to find out who actually won it. And one of the ways to find it out is to recount the votes. It happened in America in 2000 when Bush and Al Gore were claiming victory in the presidential elections. They went for a recount and they found out, well, Bush won. So, I wonder why it is impossible to do the same thing in Cote d'Ivoire. In Nigeria, for example, we have had situations where about 8 governors, this is 2007, were thrown out of power simply because they went to court and they did recount and they found out that the governor who was declared the winner did not win. So, this is not impossible to happen also in Cote d'Ivoire. So this is what we are saying, that the West, the international community, the ECOWAS, the African Union, they should think seriously into that vote recount to find out exactly what happened.
If you look at the situation, even the African bodies, the AU or the ECOMON, they all rely on the decision of the UN, which is the United Nations. The UN has already, in the recent time, replaced the picture of Mr. Gbagbo with the picture of Mr. Ouattara, and what do you really think the UN is really acting correctly in this effect?
Well, I don't think so. First of all, like I said before, when there is a conflict of elections, the first thing that needs to be done is to clear the conflict, to find out who actually won when two candidates are claiming victory. And the best way to do it is to recount the votes. Gbagbo made it very clear. He said he's not going to do the recounting himself. He's inviting the international community, come and recount. And if you find out that it is Ouattara that won, me, I will give up power. But if eventually I'm the winner, as I claim, then let Ouattara give me peace, allow me to continue to rule. But you have seen the case of the most European, the EU, recognizing Ouattara, sacking the ambassadors of Gbagbo, bringing ambassadors from Ouattara and things like that. I mean, for me, it is too early to do such things, because you first of all have to find out the truth, find out who is actually in power. You can't give ambassador to somebody who is not in power. And there cannot be two presidents in a country. Only one institution in Cote d'Ivoire is allowed to swear in president, and that president is President Gbagbo. Even if it's Ouattara that won the election, he cannot be president until it is cleared and he's sworn in as president.
Now let's talk about what I think would be more interested for our Swiss viewers, which is the Swiss role in this present conflict. Swiss, in collaboration with France, has impounded the plane belonging, the national carrier of the Cote d'Ivoire government in the joint European airport in Basel and Mulhouse. Switzerland, does this really justify the neutrality of which the Swiss government claimed?
Well, this is it's a very good question, because if you are reading the history of Switzerland, one of the first things you will hear is Swiss neutrality. That means it is an old age tradition in Switzerland for this great nation to always remain neutral in any international conflict. And then when there is a situation whereby one has been recognized as, yes, this is the main person and he's really in charge, that's when you recognize that person. But we have a situation whereby France ordered Switzerland impound that presidential jet in Basel, and they went to execute it. We have a situation whereby touts and mobs went to invade Cote d'Ivoire embassies. Switzerland didn't do anything. They went, after the things had happened, the police came. Up to today, I'm talking to you, no arrest had been made. And we have the Swiss president that has gone forth to recognize officially Ouattara as the president of Cote d'Ivoire. These things are so surprising, because usually, according to the tradition of Switzerland, you have to wait first and have a clear image of what is going on, and thereafter you will act. But here we have the situation whereby the government is pushing ahead to make recognitions in a situation that is still very, very unclear, hoping that the Africans are going to fight war against Gbagbo and take him out of power, which will never happen.
What actually will be your advice for Mr. Ouattara? And if I will put it right, what actually will also be your advice for Mr. Gbagbo in this situation?
Well, my advice to Ouattara in this situation is this. First of all, I want to let him know that 2 times he has tried to come to rule Cote d'Ivoire. It has always brought conflict. So maybe it is a time to take some step backwards and look at it well and see whether this is what God wants for the people of Cote d'Ivoire. And about 10 years ago, it was because of him that there was a war in Cote d'Ivoire, because he wanted to become president. It was not possible. And now again, something is coming up. So I think he might be a good person to rule a nation. But I think he has taken a wrong step by moving towards France and wanted France to put him into power through manipulation instead of going to seek a popular vote. Because for me, I believe if actually won the election, last time he called for a public strike, for people to strike from work, but nobody obeyed it. And me, I'm thinking, if actually these people love him and voted for him, I mean, when they call for that strike, there will be a lot of people who will go out there, who will stop going to work. That never happened. I would really suggest Ouattara that maybe to get out of this, he should seriously consider this offers being given to him, to consider sort of a power sharing with Gbagbo, and see what comes up next. Because if he's insisting that he must be the president of Cote d'Ivoire now, I'm afraid that might not be possible, and the next thing maybe is that he goes back with his rebels to start war.
Okay, now what would be your own advice for Mr. Gbagbo in this kind of situation?
Well, for Mr. Gbagbo, like I said, first of all, his situation his position is very clear. If people say I don't win, come and recount and find it yourself. So I also want to let him know, if eventually we get to that recount and it is found out that his opponent won it, he should be humble enough also to give up power.
Okay.
Secondly, if that did not happen, he should also consider the possibility of sharing power with his opponent, Ouattara, either as vice president or premier or whatever, but just to have a way to bring the two opponents together and move the nation forward, because the Cote d'Ivoire is more than Ouattara and Gbagbo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Selesi Igochukwu. You have said it all. And for you, our viewers, if you think that what Mr. Selesi Igochukwu has said is contrary to your belief, you can actually send us an email or send us a comment on how you can be part of this discussion. This discussion will also be extended to the French-speaking Africans, so that we can have a general view of what you and I should do or what we should think about this situation. I am your host, Emmanuel Bamdele. Till another time, stay blessed. If you are watching us on Facebook, please kindly drop your comment and keep your comment as reasonable as possible and make it very matured. I love you all, and I will always remain loyal to you, our viewers. Thank you.
Mit MoneyGram wird die Welt ein bisschen kleiner. Grenzen werden zu Brücken, Ozeane werden zu Chancen. Und jeder Tag ist ein guter Tag, um in Verbindung zu bleiben. Egal, ob Sie Geld senden oder empfangen, unsere niedrigen Gebühren, 10-Minuten-Transaktionen und Tausende von Standorten weltweit machen die Verbindung einfach. Und einfach ist gut. MoneyGram, internationaler Geldtransfer. Sie haben es in der Hand.